Okay, it's Saturday, June June 26th, 2021. So I didn't make a video this whole week, and there was like maybe three videos that I could have done. Um I want to try to make a video pointing out something that I notice or whatever, and I don't see what else to talk about. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to talk about this for, but uh, I just wanted to point this out, because another thing, I'm not exactly 100% sure how this idea functions. I'm just basically pointing out um, that I potentially noticed this as an idea, and also that maybe somebody, which is even scarier, they might be paying attention to me, like on some weird, like the guy from that loser from Ghostbusters. I forgot his name, but the first one. Um, he's like, what is that? He's like, there's bears in his apartment or some shit, but he's got the glowing red eyes or whatever. It's fucking weird. But anyways, so um, what is it? So let's say there's. I'm not exactly sure which one you're supposed to say first. I don't know. Let's go with the person thing first, and then you can talk about the universe. Um, because that it seems to me like that would make the most amount of sense. So, so let's say whatever happens with me in the future, whatever, whether you like collapse the like an economy that's been functioning for arguably like since like ancient Rome or even before then, right? But not like in the modern context. Like you'd have to go back to like uh, some time in Europe or some shit. The uh, like England or some bullshit. To I'm not exactly 100% sure when that began, but you get the idea. Um, when you like break off of like feudalism or some shit. Like it's been functioning since then. So you can make an argument that it's potentially a better system. That's if you have a system besides me functioning, right? You have an actual, like you're doing an experiment that you have you're 50% invested in capitalism, and then 50% invested, you would think, in some kind of bullshit idea that if you have to ask me, it doesn't work, because the entire reason why anybody gets out of bed in the morning is because that they know that they're going to achieve something, right? You don't just get out of bed because you're like, oh, I want to help this guy or whatever. Like, you might want to help somebody and make the world a better place, but it's also because you're going to get rewarded for it at the end of the rainbow. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I'm doing this to bless these wonderful people with my presence, or like whatever. It's like I'm giving. I'm a giver. I'm a giver, and I I want to enrich the world with like whatever, with my power and majesty or whatever. It's like, dude, the reason why anybody does anything, like I'm saying, is because you know that there's gonna be a payoff, right? If there's no payoff, you're just be like, what is the why am I gonna do this? Do you know what I mean? Like, dude, that's the way, dude. It's sad to say that, but dude, that's the way that things work. Unfortunately, okay, that's like whether it's sex or anything else. Like, to think about it, You're not doing something because, dude, like, especially, okay, you want to, I think I've made my point on that, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but, getting to the point, wow, that was a wild tangent, but, the point is that you seem to be doing something, with me, right, where, you focus, like, all your attention on me, like I'm the center of the universe, and it definitely seems that way. Um, it seems like everything on Earth, or near everything, I think you rewind the clock up to, um, like 6 months ago, it definitely was. Maybe it's died down since then, but maybe even right now, arguably, the entire world revolves around me. Um, that you think that they're like all the energy or something, of some sort of something, whatever it is that you don't like, or I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how the idea functions, like I'm saying, but there's something in regards to that, some sort of undestroyable energy, um, or it's like an energy that doesn't really exist, at least not in human form. Um, the I'm not exact like I said, I'm not 100% sure how the idea functions and what it's even called, but yeah, there's definitely something in regards to like something like that. Like you kill me, I think it has to do with the idea definitely of reincarnation. Um that historically comes from India. Um then it maybe expands into like Guinea territory. Um maybe it's pre-Indian. I don't know, but what is it? The continent of India. Um So maybe that has to do with like a life death cycle or whatever. I particularly don't believe in the idea of reincarnation, and I don't believe in afterlife either. I think when you're dead, you're dead. Okay, just because I'm presenting myself to you at this particular moment in time, doesn't mean that I'm gonna come back later on in somebody else's body, like Morty from Rick and Morty, and present myself again to you. Because obviously Morty is his own person, and I am my own person, and that's basically like how things are. And for some reason, let's say like you go, oh, he'll come back like 2 cycles later or some shit, right? Not really, dude. Like if you think about it, in all probability, you could get somebody who all they do is smoke weed, and they want to smoke weed till they die, or until it gives them lung cancer, and whether it's through like glass or like metal or whatever the fuck it is, um, where it gives them cancer and they die from smoking too much weed, like Bob Marley or something, or they want to drink themselves to death, or they want to take heroin and like overdose on heroin. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you might have somebody, because you got people that aren't in this whatever the fuck this is, right? And they're doing that shit. They're overdosing on uh like heroin and pills and shit, and they don't give a fuck whether they're like Jesus or not, or like God or whatever the fuck this is. But well, the most important thing, so getting to the point, um I think with this idea, the whole thing of like the death and the rebirth cycle, like if that whether that has to do with reincarnation, or Jesus being resurrected from the dead or whatever, um I think it has to do potentially with I don't see what else you'd be talking about. The idea that there is a death and rebirth cycle to the universe. But here's the interestingly distinguishing point: is human beings will go extinct right before the universe. But what's interesting is that both of those things match up. Maybe not in scale, but they're identical in nature, right? Maybe back when Christ was walking around, people didn't understand this concept as clearly as they do now. And if you have evidence for like black holes or something, but they're identically the same. They're identical, right? That's the most important thing. And dude, I was thinking about this, but for some reason, like I can't really I can't like, dude, I'm not 100% what people think about this, like how they think that the idea functions. I think it has something to do with uh good and evil, and also like there's like this idea. I've been talking to this guy on stereo, and he kind of brought it to my attention that he believes that energy can't be created or destroyed. And if you're talking about good and evil energy, um dude, it doesn't matter whether it's good or whether it's evil. I think energy can definitely be destroyed. Okay? The idea that you can't destroy a certain type of energy, or like not an energy, but like like an idea or whatever, like an idea can't be destroyed. Um dude, regardless of whether you have control over every conceivable um uh so when I think about this idea, right, you get into the realm of um what is it, that aliens could be evil and they could be doing the same thing as human beings are doing to other human beings on this planet. um but you want to know something? This is an idea, if you think about it, potentially that only exists on this planet, the way in its particular form. Like, it's not, dude, people, if you really think about it, people have absolutely no evidence that this exists anywhere else in on like uh another planet where people think about uh these things. So the most important reason why I made this video, the reason why I made this, okay, is to tell you that, like, if there's and you know what's interesting too, dude, I heard somebody say was it dude, the idea of good and positive energy, I don't think that's super important. I think what's more important to realize, more than anything, if you have to ask me, and I'm not like God's promoter, like don't even think about that for a goddamn second. I'm just pointing out like uh what is that? Demonstrable truths. Um or like absolute. Um so whatever my shoulders is fucked up, but what is it? The reason why I made this video is because the pattern of the universe um coming into existence and then dying and then being recreated again, and then the whole the cycle of Christ uh dying, and then he's embodied again into another human form or whatever. um like it's me or some kid in like a wheelchair that's drooling on himself. Um, those things are identical. They're identical in every way. Um, that's basically all I wanted to say. Those things they're completely identical. But what's interesting about those two things is you're talking about, think about this. Dude, you're talking about an entire universe being created, right? Where it gives birth to like hundreds, if not thousands, of civilizations and life forms. And then you're talking about controlling like a fucking poppy seed. Do you know what I mean? In regards to like the elaborate nature of like everything else. Um it's not exactly do you know what I mean? The same thing in regards to that. Like there's way more um grandeur in the creation of everything else than just some little shit planet that doesn't fucking matter. Okay? But dude, like you just keep zooming back, you zoom back, zoom back, zoom back, zoom back, zoom back, and you just disappear. There's no you literally disappear. There's no evidence that you're even that you're even a thing. So what is it? What those both of those things are identical in that particular way, right? Um but what is it? I think I'm going to end this video with this. There were these guys. I'm driving into where I work. I'm going to try to keep myself anonymous for some reason from this point on. But I don't think it matters because I think everybody knows probably where I live and like where I work. Potentially everyone in the entire goddamn planet. But dude, I'm driving into work, right? And there's this there's like this historic monument or whatever you want to say, like where a battle was fought or whatever you want to say. And there's these two guys who they're like groundskeepers or some shit. And it's like they're like scientists or some shit, right? They're watching me or whatever to see if there's like any sort of unusual act. I don't know why the fuck. Dude, let me put it this way. Dude, I hope and I dude, I hope that these guys are watching me to see what my demeanor is. Because if they're watching me to see if they can like see through part of my body or some shit or like any sort of unusual of activity of any kind, dude, I got news for you. They're wasting their time because and everybody else's time because that shit is just fucking weird. Okay? Um or like if my eyes are glowing or some shit, yeah, that's like I'm not exactly 100% sure what you would be looking for. Um but you probably get the general idea, right? They're a bunch of weirdos and that's just weird. I don't like dude, if I was a scientist or some other guy, I'd be like, you guys are fucking certifiable. Okay? I think the whole goddamn idea is it's a waste of time. It dumbs down society. Uh it's like you know how it also functions is the idea where when you focus on this idea instead of something that actually matters, um, that's what's important. Like when you call foul, right? When you cry wolf, none of that shit matters. Like if you got somebody like Julian Assange or somebody else that's saying something like these guys are fucking up everybody's life, um that whatever kind of issue, whatever kind of problem that you have in society, whoever's creating those problems, whether it's like Nazis or Chinese or like greedy people or unreasonable people or um like bankers, they have everything in the world but they won't give people like a a standard of living or like a living wage or some shit. Like all these things, technically they don't matter, because think about it, when you have these issues, right? If these people who that are doing something wrong, whatever they're doing, they're using like chemical weapons or biological weapons or whatever on people to because they think that they're the ones in control of everything, right? No matter how bad society becomes, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't have to worry about any of this shit that you're doing. You could be, dude, think about it. You could have somebody's head like in a vice on a table that's slightly higher than a normal table, and the person whose head's in a vice is sitting on like a stool on the below the table, and you could have some rich guy literally eating their brains live or whatever, right? And you could have all kinds of other weird shit, right? None of these things matter, okay? If people focus on the scapegoat or whatever, right? And they try to make society think that that is exclusively literally the only thing that matters. Well, that's what is important then. Like that's what becomes important. Like none of this other shit, right? No matter how bad that it gets, could get like to a point where like society almost breaks the fuck down or whatever, or maybe it does, and it still doesn't matter. Like what we say is important, and it's this fucking scapegoat right here. That's what is exclusively important. All these other fucking problems, okay, no matter how bad it just crumbles apart, don't pay attention to that shit. Doesn't matter. Why are you paying attention to it? That's what's important. That's what you should be paying attention to. Okay? Is that fucking loser over there. Right? And so basically, you can get away with murder if you think about it. If you think that's what's important, that's what becomes important. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is. Like, you got some weird, like, dozens situation where a bunch of fucking monkeys and losers that make pizza, like, created a fucking spectacle where, you take the piss out of somebody based on some stupid idea that doesn't make any goddamn sense. That there is no absolute to anything, but you think that there is. Dude, I'm gonna try to talk about this stupid idea in other videos, cause I'm not 100% sure how this idea functions, but I don't see what the fuck else what I should focus my time on other than this, because you have some kind of weird like witchcraft sort of like dumb like fetish that's left over from like when people used to sacrifice their children to some guy or whatever, and like it seems like my family is dwindling down to nothing. Well, it's for the good of the god of the earth. Some weird shit. Okay, so that's basically the video. I hope you enjoyed it, because you just wasted 25 minutes of your life that you're never getting back.